Later that year, we went out and found in a local cave this cave art. And this was, I talked to a local anthropologist, an Indian anthropologist, specializes in Native American petroglyphs. And as you can see here, it's very faded. That's a sign of great age. There's a patina. This is an overhang of rock. So there was fires and smoke in this cave over the years. And you could see that, some of the darkness here. But it creates this desert patina that really authenticates it. Now I enhanced it over and over again. I also took pictures because I could only get 3-4 feet away from it. I couldn't really capture a wide angle shot of it. So I mosaicked it together and enhanced it to get this. You have this dominant center figure there with a large head and head crest, an open beak, big head crest, but 6 fingers. For those of you who have studied Nephilim issues in the scripture, beyond scripture, well, I know at least one, Goliath's brother, right, or his relative had 6 fingers. It somehow is looked on as very positive by non-believing people, by heathens, by pagans, by unbelievers in multiple cultures. And this is no exception. This was a person that could not only have life, but give it. This was a powerful person. Look at the head crest. And look, we have a backbone on all of these, but this is one that's very distinctly emphasized as having a backbone because they add vertebral processes. Could this be something similar to the Jed? Could this be something similar to a wasp scepter? Look at the curved end, just like the wasp scepter had, with an additional 3rd prong. Could this be something similar to the wasp scepter's head? And the Ankh, could it be similar to the fact that this creature is supposed to be so powerful that it might even be life-giving? What a type and shadow. Let's look at the comparison of the head crest. Remember, Dimorphodon, the popular one from Jurassic Park, has a smaller head crest than beak. This one has a larger head crest than its beak. But it's not without precedent. Scott Norman's sighting, twice he drew on 2 different days after he saw the creature, the morning of, and 2 days later. He both times drew it with a larger head crest in the back. It corresponds with the local cave art by the Indians, very ancient. It corresponds in paleontology with at least one species, the Thalassodromius, that has a very large head crest and a relatively small beak. And in Egyptology as well. Now on July 7th, again, we're getting into modern research and we're actually going out looking for it now. Sorry. Okay. We're all looking around. We're trying to see if there's any lights. And Scott Norman says, hey, that star cluster's moving. And I looked really close and I squinted and I'm thinking, you're right. It was actually moving right and left, but I couldn't get my computer to do that. I can turn my computer sideways for you, but basically you see the star cluster beginning to move very slowly. It's almost as if you had a group of flying pterosaurs with a single light on, and each one is staying right near the next one, and they're flying with the wind, and the wind is just shifting, and they're adjusting with it, but they're staying together. Very fascinating. That's my theory of what I'm seeing there. Stars aren't supposed to move, so it's not stars. It's got to be something else. Westerners may come up with UFOs. Easterners, the village natives, they may come up with, it's got to be a spirit. But let's keep going. What else could it be besides a UFO or a demon? This is Orion. I only use this for illustration. Matthew Spites actually saw this on the Big Dipper. He sees an extra star in the constellation. He knew the Big Dipper. He knew all the stars of the Big Dipper. You know, it's got the 4 little ones that make the Dipper and the little 3 that go to the tail. What's that extra star doing in there? So this little green star just kind of stood out. I used Orion. It's the same principle. And while he's thinking, what is that extra star doing? I don't remember that being there. He sees it start to move. And it moves, and then suddenly it does a U-turn, and he gets zipped by, what, a meteor? What a coincidence that a meteor shower would happen just as this crazy moving star would happen to get out of its way. Is this social behavior? Or are we just dealing with a super coincidental moment when a firefly that doesn't live in this area happened to fly all the way over to a deserty, dry area, hang out there, be at just the right distance between the stars, or hold still just that long, and they can't blink because this one was solid. Fireflies blink, and it slowly moves, and it is able to move really fast out of the way of a shooting star that's burning up 60 to 30 miles away in our atmosphere. I'm going with Occam's razor on this one. I'm saying no, it's not that. That was an interesting sighting. I'll play it again. I see that. So what I'm seeing is a shooting star that lights up, disappears, just like any shooting star does, or something imitating that. And then on a different vector, it lights up and disappears again. My thought is this could be hunting, and he's lighting something up as he's pursuing it, and he's going to try to catch something. That's just my theory. Whatever it is, it could be social behavior, or it might be a couple of them chasing each other, possibly. But one of them lit up and made a turn, and I thought, oh, wow. Now, could it be two separate radii that are, one's going this way, one's going this way? In other words, they're getting closer in trajectory. They can't be the same radius. And as they get closer, they just happen to have just the right timing. Too much coincidence for me. This was interesting. I see a shooting star just kind of fall down straight, and 2 is company, but 3's a crowd. He didn't want to hang out with them. Let's try that again. So, to me, this shows intelligence. They look like shooting stars, even though they're moving a little slow and they don't have a plasma trail behind them. But shooting stars will go, and they won't change direction, other than a predictable arc. They can make a predictable arc. This is not a predictable arc. This goes against it. We saw what the prediction would be, the first 2. That's the way they should be going. And this one just said, oh, I don't want to hang out with them. That seat's taken. So evidently, I think what we're seeing is their social behavior. Sometimes they like to hang out with each other, sometimes they don't. Now, we were, and we still are, when we see a shooting star, we just have to assume it's a real shooting star burning up 30 to 60 miles in our atmosphere. But this time, me and David Wetzel, the president of Genesis Park, we're sitting about 150 feet from each other. I'm laying down on a sleeping bag. I'm looking straight up. He's in a chair looking toward me. I see a shooting star directly over my head. I said, Dave, did you see a shooting star? I said, I sure did. So he pointed where he saw it. I said, you saw it there? He said, yeah. I said, well, I saw it directly above my head. We didn't see 2. We saw 1. That makes it closer by triangulation. He estimated that it was 40 feet above me, maybe 45 feet. Very close to me was some power poles. He had a good judgment to work with. He had a scale right there. Those power poles are about 30 feet tall, and hey, he's got it right there. Again, David saw a shooting star right over a mountain peak. And I saw the same thing. And he mentioned that he saw it over the mountain peak. I said, Dave, I didn't see mine over the mountain peak. I saw it to the left. And so we compared notes, and we calculated that it was only 100 feet away. So here we have a flying creature. I'll do it again. And it came up at dusk, right after it got dark, and it just zipped right over David's left shoulder. He flips around quick. Did you see that? Now, I was in denial. If he wouldn't have said, did you see that? I was going to just dismiss it because it was quick. It was a black, quick sighting, flashing sighting. But I did see it. but it was so insignificant, or was it, right? But once he said, did you see it? Okay, yeah, I did see it. And then his face lights up. I go, what'd you see? In fact, when his face lit up, he got a little scared, you know? And I said, what'd you see? He said, right above your head, Garth, I saw a flash right over your head. I said, we got buzzed. He wanted to see what we looked like, and he got a snapshot of us. I was sitting beside a pond in one of our research areas, and I looked up, and right there, 2 or 3 seconds, it appeared and disappeared. It's very subtle. Right about here, next to the words. Very subtle. Now, let me tell you, you see that. If you haven't had the experience to say that might be something, you would totally dismiss it so easily. A moment later, that one was kind of yellowish. I saw this one, and it was kind of reddish. Again, about 2 seconds, just kind of slowly appeared, and it just disappeared. It's about 7 inches around, and it was only 45 degrees above my head. I'm thinking about 15, no more than 20 feet away from me. It was over the water, but I was real close to the water. Now, I was 100 feet away. I walked 100 feet away, and those were dim lights. Now, I saw a half a red light, like that. And it was about 20 feet away from me when I saw it. I was looking up into the woods, because it's a downhill slope to the pond. And that was hanging maybe on the tree, or maybe it was just fluttering behind the tree and it was holding perfectly still, but he flashed. Identical size and shape of the previous dim ones, but this was significantly brighter. And it was kind of pretty. It's a beautiful hue. We've noticed, though, that when they're red, that might be an alert. I'm alert. I'm wary of you. Was there? We call her pterosaur bait because I don't know what it is, her perfume, her demeanor. They like her. They come out of the woodwork for her. She plays the recorder. She sings. She'll get a glow-in-the-dark ball and throw it for an enrichment. She's a zookeeper. She came from a zookeeper background. She knows all about enrichments for animals. They love her. And they come out, well, for her, what she sees a lot are blue and green. She'll see mostly and I say blue and green, a bluish green. Blue to bluish green. Those evidently is a color of friendliness or curiosity. And that's kind of what we're getting. This is all in development. We're just trying to piece all the pieces together. But when I go there, they're red and they're kind of flying away from me. When she goes there, they're coming towards her and they're bluish and red and green. Pretty neat.